News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Logan Extermination. A 37-year-old former Logan man has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a young girl 10 years ago. Guillermo Farias accepted a plea deal days before his case was set to go to trial. Farias appeared in First District Court Monday afternoon. He pleaded guilty to an amended charge of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, a first-degree felony. Defense attorney Shannon Demler explained that the crime carries a penalty of between 6 years to life in prison, but prosecutors will not ask for more than 10 years at sentencing. 4 remaining charges were also dropped. In 2020, Logan City police officers were contacted by the victim. She described how Farias, a family acquaintance, raped her when she was 12 years old. The incident occurred when the girl and an 18-year-old family friend went to Farias's residence in Logan. The victim called Farias during a recorded phone conversation with detectives. After asking about sexually transmitted diseases, the defendant replied that she didn't need to worry because he had been tested in federal prison. Farias never admitted to the sexual assault during the phone call. He said that he was on so many drugs at the time of the rape he could not remember what happened. He was later arrested at his home in Wicks, Arkansas, and extradited back to Utah. The case was set for a 3-day jury trial beginning next Tuesday. Farias spoke only briefly during Monday's hearing, telling the court he wished to waive his rights to a fair trial. Judge Angela Fonsbeck accepted Farias's guilty plea and canceled the jury trial. She ordered the defendant to meet with probation agents and complete a pre-sentence report about his criminal history. Farias remains in the Cache County Jail, being held without bail. He is scheduled to be sentenced September 26th. KBNU News Time is 4:07. KBNU weather for tonight, mostly clear skies, low in the mid-50s. Sunny, mid-90s tomorrow, and another near record-breaking day on Thursday, mid-90s, partly cloudy skies. It's been to 89. It's 89 right now at KBNU. U&I Furniture wants to take a moment and say thanks for being such good neighbors and friends. U&I features lots of American-made brands, chairs by Southern Motion, Best, Franklin, and Lane, Speed Queen appliances, therapeutic mattresses, and more. Always a better buy at U&I, downtown Logan, 28 West, 1st North.
As the summer's war against weeds and pests rages on, a new bug threat starts hopping around, destroying garden plants and flowers. Luckily, you are ready for them with Logan Extermination's Perimeter Grasshopper Control. It's like a minefield for the minute menace.
Good job, men. Another bug bites the dirt. Let's regroup before the next wave hits.
They do what they are trained to do. Strike terror into termites, bash the bed bugs, and cook the cockroaches. Remember the brave men and women at Logan Extermination. Call 752-8450.
Treatment areas vary. Call for a quote today.
KBNU News Time is 4:08. A Utah special needs student was left out of the yearbook, and his mother is now seeking answers from the district. His mother said they purchased a yearbook at the end of last school year, only to find her son's name and picture were missing from the Roy Junior High yearbook. The mom, Crystal Fatui, said that it was heartbreaking for them to realize that he was not included. She stated that she was certain her autistic son Clayton had his school photo taken and that she still does not know how this occurred other than the Weber School District claiming it was an error. Fatui told KUTV that after a busy summer, which included a move from Roy to Tooele and a funeral, she reached out to the administration at Roy Junior High and Weber School District in July to get answers. After weeks of phone calls and emails, she requested the staff reprint a single yearbook for her son that included his photo and name. So far, it's not clear whether that will happen, as they have indicated there may be setbacks to doing that. But they have said they will refund the cost of the yearbook. They also apologized to the family for the situations. And 7 western U.S. states face a deadline from the federal government to come up with a plan to use substantially less Colorado River water in 2023. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation is expected to publish hydrology projections on Tuesday that will trigger agreed-upon cuts for states relying on the river. States face the threat of proposing additional cuts or having them mandated by the federal government. Prolonged drought, climate change, and overuse are jeopardizing the water supply that more than 40 million people rely on. KBNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Where news and talk comes first. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. I had to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term, "got your six," means I have your back. And that day, our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org, using the number 6.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is 89 degrees here at 4:13, almost 4:14 in the afternoon.
And it's supposed to get hotter next couple of days.
Welcome back, July, right? This is, it's welcome, I think. It's warm, and as Bill mentioned, it's going to be warmer as things get going into the August month. The dog days are upon us, but I'm excited about the weather. I'm excited about it's still feeling like summer out there. And with that in mind, you probably noticed that the Cache County Fair took place last weekend and a few days before that. If you had a chance to get out, it was a big crowd of people. Perfect weather for it. Gatlin Brothers wrapped things up Saturday evening, even played some of their most famous songs and some new stuff. County fairs are just part of this time of year. And I know, as a kid, I didn't like them because the Cache County Fair meant school was just around the corner and summer, at least at that age, was over. Now that I'm an adult, I know summer goes until roughly the end of September on the calendar. And the weather oftentimes plays along with that as well. And you get to a little extended feeling of summer for adults. So there is not a shortage of things to get out and do. And one of those things to get out and do, we're going to talk about right here at the start of the program today, starting next week, the Box Elder County Fair is underway. And I'm always surprised how many people here in Cache Valley or in northern Utah miss this. It's one of the largest fairs that takes place in northern Utah, and it's honestly pretty amazing. They take it very seriously as far as planning and organizing everything from exhibits to entertainment. And, of course, all the staples of a county fair will be on hand as well next week over there in Tremont. And so joining us right now to talk about the upcoming Box Elder County Fair, we have with us Fair Board Chairperson Jan Rhodes. And, Jan, appreciate taking some time for KVNU today. As I understand it, talking with some of your colleagues organizing this interview, you guys start planning the fair the day after the fair ends, right? There's no break, really.
That's pretty much correct.
This is, I'm excited that we have a chance to talk to you because, Jan, listeners have heard this story from me before, but I'll tell you to start us off here. A while ago, several years ago, despite living here my whole life, I made my first stop at the Box Elder County Fair, and I was blown away. This was a full-on, it almost felt a bit more like state fair. There was representation from all over of northern Utah. A large carnival was taking place, the rodeo, of course, and then the crowds. People were coming. I heard people talking about coming from as far away as Salt Lake for this. How did the Box Elder County Fair get this reputation that is spread so wide?
Well, our county fair is kind of pretty much agricultural fair. It's 97 years old this year, and it started out with just volunteers, and it's still volunteers is what makes our fair work.
Wow.
We have high school reunions planned around our county fair, so they can go to the rodeo one night during their high school reunion. It's pretty much a family affair. People plan their vacations here. Just kind of the way it's always been, and hopefully it'll keep going that way.
Absolutely. It's, this is, we've all heard the phrase Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo. But again, for those of you who have never had a chance to go over and check it out, it's really worth your time. And as Jan mentioned, this is a traditional agricultural fair. And Jan, that's what stood out to me. So I've been every year since I've had that first experience. And you walk away from some of the things you see and get to watch there at the Box Elder County Fair, really with a good grasp of what life still is like here in northern Utah. And Jan, for me, it really hammered home the fact that we are still very much an agricultural community at large. And that's the point, right? You guys try to make sure that's in the spotlight.
Well, that's right. We have over 800 exhibits from in the livestock show of kids' 4-H and FFA projects through the summer. Some of these kids' projects started the week after last year's fair with their steers. And just a couple of years ago, we started having the goat show, and so now we have lamb show or a market lamb show, and a market steer show, and then now we have the goat show. So we pretty well cover most of the agricultural animals here. We have rabbits. Kids have rabbits for projects, chickens and pigeons. We have a whole barn full of, we call it the small animal barn, where they display their chickens and rabbits and pigeons. Exhibits. Market hog show is in there. Our fair used to just be like 2 days long. Now it's pretty much the whole week. We start off Monday with a heavy draft horse show, and move into Tuesday with some of the fat lamb show and the showmanship, hog showmanship, and the market goat show. We do have people still bring produce, so people uptown that don't have animals in their backyard can bring produce out of their gardens.
This is, it's an opportunity for the community, the county fair in general, for all counties. It's a time to show off, right, and put your best foot forward. But this is something. The Box Elder County Fair is so big and draws such a crowd. Setup for this started earlier this week, right? I noticed driving through, you guys had, I assume some of the 4-H kids, I'm not sure, but they were out there setting up panels already on Monday of this week, and the fair starts next Monday.
Well, the kids came and started setting up panels in the hog barn for their hog show. We've had kids here picking up garbage, doing community service for their 4-H project. They needed to pass off a community service check mark in their 4-H project. We've actually started here the 1st of August, moving in our home arts building. We move in all of the showcases so people can showcase their quilts and their handiwork and their paintings and their photography that they've been doing all summer here in the home arts building. So we pretty much started setting up here the 1st of the month to get ready for the fair.
That's pretty amazing. This is, for most people, it's a 5 or 6 day event, and they stop by, they have a good time, they eat something they normally wouldn't get a chance to eat. Deep fried things, I know, are big at county fairs, but there's actual business behind this, right? There's an economic purpose to this. There's an agricultural purpose to this, and for especially younger people, there's a competitive side to all of this, right?
Well, that's correct. They vie for awards with all their projects, whether it's here in the home arts business where it's a building, whether it's cookies, all the way to their animal projects.
That's very
so
cool.
Yeah, it's competitive.
I'll be down there for cookies. This is for listeners, the Box Elder County Fair. Technically, as Jan has mentioned, some events are already underway. In fact, last Friday there was a dog show in the small indoor arena there at the Fair Park in Tremonton, and events that go each and every day this week. But the fair officially gets underway Monday, August 2nd, and runs until Saturday, August 27th. And that is, again, at the Fair Park there in Tremonton. And Jan is director from the Fair Park Board. Can you tell listeners out there what you guys have brought in new this year? Some things that you haven't tried before as far as entertainment and vendors?
Well, this year on Saturday also we have a stock dog competition at the outdoor arena. We had tried to have one of them. It's been 5 years since we've had one, and we're going to have another one. That should be good for something fairly new. Then we just got some more different vendors coming in, and we've got some backdrops, so you can have a family picture or a picture of taken in front of different displays.
That's very cool. Those are always memorable.
We do have a concert that's coming this Thursday before the fair actually starts with Eddie Gentry at our main outdoor rodeo arena. That's Thursday at 7.
Oh, wow. See, events the week
helps.
before even.
Yeah, I think we try to have one the week before, whether it's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, kind of helping people could come where it's on a Thursday where they don't have to go to a high school football game or something.
Sure. This is
and this year it looks like the weather's going to be good. Last year we were in mud.
That's right. There was a bit of rain for some of the nights of the rodeo there, I know, and the concerts. But yeah, this year should be dry as a bone, and maybe a little hot some of the days, but not too bad. For listeners, that Eddie Gentry concert, again, as Jan mentioned, is this Thursday, 6 p.m. at the main rodeo arena there at the Fair Park. And then everything gets underway Monday, August 22nd, with some of the earliest events there at the rodeo arena. As Jan mentioned, the heavy draft horse events starting at 9 a.m. Monday morning, and fair events going throughout the day until 9, 10 o'clock at night each day next week. And then music throughout almost every day. I'm excited about this, Jan. This is a very popular local band. But wrapping things up Saturday, August 27th, in the afternoon, the Noon Bear River Ramblers will be playing there at the bandstand. I know a lot of people here in Cache Valley are probably going to recognize that name as well. And, of course, the rodeo happening throughout this. For listeners out there going to the rodeo, getting tickets, what do they need to know?
So you can go to boxeldercounty.org/fair and check out the website there so you can get information. If you want tickets to the rodeo, there's still some available. Go to goldenspikerodeo.com, and it will have a link for you to go in there and get your tickets. It's a pretty easy way to get your tickets for the rodeo.
Very nice.
They need to know that we do have the girls breakaway roping, which is a fairly new event to the PRCA rodeos, and we have 4 nights of that in with our rodeo, so that's always fun for people to watch.
Very cool. And I'm excited about this, Jan, because I caught them a couple of years ago, but at 8 p.m. On Thursday, August 25th, so a week from this Thursday, as the fair is midway point, imagine a pretty well-known Beatles tribute band is coming back to the fair. That's always a popular event, and that's on Thursday. Wednesday preceding that, Sage Junction at 8 p.m. on the bandstand there at the Fair Park in Tremont, and 8 p.m. on Friday, the day after the Beatles tribute band, Malibu Review on the bandstand, and then the final performer of the fair, Saturday, August 27th, Rough Stock at the bandstand, playing at 8 p.m. And those are just the evening events. Again, a full day schedule each and every day next week, starting Monday and running until Saturday, August 27th. It's the Box Elder County Fair. Jan's mentioned it already. I'll throw it out there again, and I've also linked to it on our Facebook page. But boxeldercounty.org/fair for a full schedule, rodeo tickets, and more information. And if you've never had a chance, make time for this next week. Our guest again has been director of the Fair Board, Jan Rhodes, president of the Fair Board, Jan Rhodes, and director of the Fair Organizing Committee. And Jan, really appreciate taking some time for us today, and we'll watch for you over there.
Well, everybody come. Everyone's welcome. Our fair doesn't have a gate admission, so it's a fun fair to come to.
Very nice. I'm excited about this, and it's a good free activity to get out and do this time of year, especially in the evenings when it's this warm. So take advantage. The Box Elder County Fair starts next Monday and runs until Saturday, August 27th, with events packed throughout the day, each and every day. And again, Jan, thank you to you for your time and to our listeners for their time tuning in, and we'll be back right after this.
Monday, August 22nd, come help ignite the light with Alex Boyer as he performs a free concert at the Cache County Fairgrounds, bringing positive support to suicide prevention. Suicide affects all walks of life, backgrounds, and age demographics. Join Alex Boyer Monday, August 22nd for a free concert bringing attention to suicide prevention and a new national suicide and crisis lifeline, 988. If you think you may need help or just want to talk with someone, call 988. Donations of any size are accepted and welcome to help make this event possible. Go to CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com for concert details and donation information. The outpouring of support for this event last year was unbelievable. Business and individual donations are vital for the 2022 event. Join Alex Boyer at the Cache County Fairgrounds Monday, August 22nd for a free concert bringing attention and positive support to suicide prevention. Donations of any size are accepted and welcome. Go to CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com for concert details and donation information. That's CacheValleyIgniteTheLight.com. And thank you for making this event possible.
This is Deputy Brad Nelson with the Cache County Sheriff's Office. Schools are back in session throughout the valley, which means kids are going to be out on the roads during the morning and afternoon commutes. Law enforcement will be patrolling school zones where the speed limits are 20 miles per hour. Also, watch out for crosswalks and crossing guards. We're asking citizens to be alert while driving and help us keep kids safe. Thank you.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You do amazing things every day. And we're not just talking about your pregnancy. You do it all. So why risk letting COVID-19 stop you? COVID-19 vaccines are especially important during pregnancy. Take control of your health so you can keep showing up for the ones you love. Get the COVID-19 vaccine to protect yourself and your pregnancy. It's safe, proven, effective. You could say it's pretty amazing, just like you. Message brought to you by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Visit acoc.org/COVID vaccine to learn more.
He couldn't stay to go on air, but our listeners, you would have appreciated. We just
the movie guy.
Our studio was just crashed by Movie Boy. We should wait a second to have this conversation until he's back in his car, so he can hear me say Movie Boy. No, Andy Morgan was just in. He had to pick some paperwork up here at the station, and he just came by to say hi and do a little planning for the show on Friday. And I'll just let everyone know right now.
He has nothing to talk about.
Nope, it's going to be just us and Star Wars, like always. No, it's going to be a special 2-hour movie show this Friday.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
We're going to we'll recap the whole summer season, and then Andy's on this bandwagon with me, Bill, and I hope you are too. That just reminding everyone, summer is not over.
This is the official summer is not over.
Summer is not over. Maybe for the
radio
kids.
program.
Haha, kids, but no, it's not over, and so there's actually a few weeks, I should say, of summer movie season left, and so we'll be talking about that lineup as well. And then we're behind a couple of movies. We had a few come out midweek that we didn't get to last Friday, so we'll have plenty to talk about. Special 2-hour movie show on Friday. I want to throw this out because we're talking about summer, joking about kids going back to school. Keep an eye out. There was a report by UDOT they posted to their YouTube channel on some of sadly, the report also includes some of the not near misses, some of the actual accidents, and even one fatality that happened in a school crossing zone just last year here in Utah. But the near misses, they had filmed these. Now, most of this came from police dash cams. Police officers oftentimes will be in the same vicinity, especially at the start of the school year. They do write citations, but mainly they pull people over and give them warnings, and it's just a way to remind everyone that school's back in and those school crossing areas are to be taken seriously.
Haven't seen those flashing yellow lights for a few months.
Yeah, you get out of the habit.
People forget.
Yeah. I know, my commute, if I'm leaving home and coming straight here in the afternoons, I go through 3 of them on my preferred route, at least. I have an alternate route if I'm late and don't want to make Bill sweat. But my preferred route, I go through 3 school zones.
Sometimes it's fun to do that, though.
Well, and I'm surprised how often. So people don't remember or maybe even care about the real rules. Everyone knows when the lights are flashing, it's 25 miles an hour.
Or 20.
Yeah, or 20. Sorry, 20, yeah.
20, yeah.
So it drops down to 20. The citation for going over 20 miles an hour, and they do write them for 5 over in school zones. Most of the time, we have all heard this. Most of the time, you're not going to get pulled over on the freeway for going 80 in a 75. You could, but you're likely not going to. In a school zone, it's different. In a school zone, 5 miles over will get you pulled over and possibly cited. But the ticket is really expensive, and it is reported in depending on your speed, it can be reported to your insurance company as reckless driving.
And that's something new this year, right?
Yeah, that's a new change. So if you're not familiar with how this works, reckless driving being reported to your insurance company has about the same effect as a DUI being almost. With a DUI, these rules have changed too, but it seems like here in Utah, with a DUI, they take your plates, and if you're arrested for driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, they take your plates, and to get them back, you have to show proof that you've told your insurance company that you've been charged with this and convicted of this, and then your insurance rates triple for 7 years at least. It's because you're high risk. You're understandably considered very high risk. Well, the same can happen with reckless driving. Not automatically like a DUI, but it can happen with reckless driving, and it's up to your insurance company to decide. And so if you don't enjoy the thought of triple your insurance rates, as Bill mentioned, this is new, but here in Utah, speeding, and there's some discretion. So I don't know how this will work. I don't know if 5 miles over is going to do that to your insurance rates, to your driving record. But 10 miles, 15 miles, definitely 20, 25 miles over. You're going 45 in a 20 mile an hour school zone. It's going to be reckless driving on your record. Your insurance rates will triple, and that's at least for 7 years in the state of Utah. So, and that's just the financial concern. Imagine hitting a kid. So let's back up just a little bit and just refresh everyone on the rules here. In a school zone, there are some other rules in addition to just the 20 mile an hour speed limit. And I've seen this broken all the time. Don't tailgate. Your lack of your reduced visibility if you're on someone's butt because they slowed down to 20 and that annoys you for some reason. And I see this all the time during the school year. For some reason, there's that one Yahoo who has slowed down to 20 because they had to and apparently wouldn't have otherwise, and they're just right on someone's butt. That's actually very dangerous. If they have to stop fast, if a kid runs out and you don't have enough space to make a maneuver, you're going to hit a kid, or you're going to hit the driver in front of you and make them hit a kid. So distance is important, and then lane changes. People forget this, but now there aren't a lot of them here in Cache Valley. Most of the school zones are on 2-lane roads, bidirectional 2-lane roads. But there are a couple on 4-lane roads. In Salt Lake and along the Wasatch Front, there are a lot more. And in a school zone, you are not to change lanes. It's similar to going through a construction zone. And the reason for that is every lane change presents risks. If any time a car is moving from one lane to another, there's a potential blind spot accident. There's potential for dislodging and slowing or speeding traffic in a way that causes all the cars to be like ping pongs. We've all seen that happen on the freeway, right? So in a school zone, in a 4-lane school zone, if you're going through a school zone and there are 4 lanes, you don't change lanes. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's a rule that most people don't know. And again, it's because I think here in Cache Valley, I can only think of 2 spots where there's 4 lanes and a school zone.
Not real common.
Yeah, so it's not frequent here, but there are quite a few of them along the Wasatch Front and a lot in Salt Lake. UDOT's video also shows that that's where the majority of these youth pedestrian vehicle accidents have occurred. This was the other part that kind of surprised me, and I've heard some people griping about this. I don't know what you do, but there is an awareness campaign nationwide on current vehicle designs, trying to get auto manufacturers to think of pedestrian safety more. UDOT points this out in the video, and I've linked to it on our Facebook page. UDOT points out in the video that by far the majority of youth pedestrian, school zone pedestrian vehicle contact, as they call it. So this is a situation where someone was struck, but not injured or not a fatality, but someone was hit by a car, so it could have been very serious. Predominantly happens with trucks and SUVs, and the conventional wisdom here is it's that design, the new design, the big flat nose design you see on a lot of the larger SUVs and a lot of the larger pickup trucks. It does reduce your visibility. So much so that a child under 5 or 4 feet, you can't even see the top of their head. And so they said, UDOT said, by far the majority of the youth pedestrian vehicle contact incidents in Utah in a school zone last year in 2021 were between larger SUV and truck style vehicles, pickup truck style vehicles, and not so much the passenger cars. So there's a visibility issue there for those large vehicles with those big square blocky noses they put on them now. So it's just all something to think about. Outside of the financial concern, outside of the criminal concern, the primary concern should be, I can't imagine It almost happened to me once. This is a story I'll leave everyone with. I was driving towards Paradise here in Cache Valley. I was a young driver, but not new. I'd been driving for about 3 or 4 years. I was going the speed limit. I was not distracted. I can't even remember what I was going up there for, but I was being a good driver at that time. I wasn't speeding. I was paying attention to the road. I wasn't fiddling with my stereo or my phone or anything like that. I was just driving along, and as I came through a reduced speed zone, it goes from 55, or it used to go from 55 to 45 as you come into Paradise. And there are a lot of houses right along the side of the road, and sometimes certain times of day, a lot of cars parked at those houses. And so I slowed to 45 as I came into that zone, following all the rules, and it happened so fast, I would not have been able to react. I wouldn't have been able to stop this accident. A red kickball-style ball bounced from between 2 cars, so close to me I couldn't even hit my brakes. It bounced between 2 cars parked on the side of the road and bounced off the hood of my car. I hit my brakes instinctively, and the last thing I saw was a child's face come out between those 2 cars after that ball. Luckily, right behind that child was I believe it was an older sibling, didn't look old enough to be a parent, had grabbed the child's collar and pulled this young boy back away from the road. I would have hit him. I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I would have hit him. I didn't see the ball. I didn't see him. The 2 vehicles parked on the side of the road were blocking my view of him.
And he was focused on getting that ball out of the road.
He's chasing the ball, yeah. Complete accident on all parts. I stopped. I asked if everybody was okay. I was shaken. They were shaken. They said as well, sorry, you weren't. I said I wasn't speeding. I was paying attention. I just did not. That ball came out. I hit my brakes. But even doing that, it wouldn't have been enough. If they hadn't grabbed him, I would have hit that child at about 40 miles an hour. Because I barely hit my brakes when I saw the ball. I slammed on him, but it hadn't slowed me enough by the time the kid popped out. So I'll bet I was still going 35, 40. I would have hit him. And I was so horrified by that experience. That's the story I want to leave everyone with. Why would you even take the risk of being the cause of that? By just not paying attention in a school zone, by not slowing in a school zone, by not being aware of child traffic in your area, because oftentimes school gets out, they do cross in some areas that aren't school zones too. I can't imagine living with that, being the cause of something like that. So that's my personal experience because of an accident when I was doing everything right. It was just a bad timing on everyone's part, but it's such a near miss. I've never forgotten it. And that kid's face, as I saw him, right by the right corner of my car's hood, just horrifying. And everyone was okay in that situation. So I can't imagine had things turned out otherwise, and even worse if I'd been negligent in some way in a school zone. So just be careful. And remember, starting next week, these flashing lights are going to be returning here in Cache Valley at various places. So be careful. We'll be back with more of For the People after the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:43, and the news is brought to you by Whole Tree Care. Law enforcement is asking for the public's assistance to help identify a suspect who is involved in a burglary at a Logan business. Investigators with the Logan City Police Department said the incident took place on August 8th at around 4 a.m. The suspect is seen entering the business and stealing a metal cash box. Police explained that the male suspect used gloves, a balaclava-type face mask, and booties on his shoes like you would see at a food plant. He was wearing sweatpants, a T-shirt, and a ball cap. Authorities have released surveillance footage that shows the suspect entering the building and leaving with the cash box. Anyone who recognizes or has information on the suspect is asked to contact the Logan City Police Department. While gardeners sell their homegrown produce to make a little extra cash, Gabby and Rusty Johnson in Preston are selling baked goods from their front yard in a similar fashion. Gabby's Bakery is located at 21 South, 100 East in Preston. The couple built a self-serve cabinet with glass doors so people could get a close-up look at several different types of breads, rolls, fudge, and cookies. The cash box looks like a tiny oven with a stovetop where people can pay for their goods. Gabby said they first started selling their front porch, and it grew to the point that they built a display case near the sidewalk so people could get a closer look at what they are buying. They start cooking at 6 a.m. and finish at about 2 p.m., and sometimes they'll go until 5 p.m. Rusty has health concerns that prevent him from working around other people. Gabby explained how they were on a vacation to Zion's National Park, and he contracted hantavirus. After his exposure to the disease, he tried to work traditional 9-to-5 jobs in the Boise area, but he kept getting sick with the flu and other illnesses. Hantavirus is normally transmitted to humans from contaminated rodents. People-to-people hantavirus infections are very unlikely. This particular virus can be life-threatening and linger for years, and it has a 50% mortality rate. The Johnsons are hoping Rusty will return to good health after 5 years. It's been 4.5 years since he was exposed. The Johnsons tried selling baked goods to take care of their needs and not be a burden on Rusty's parents while living in their home. The Johnsons started their curbside bakery in January 2021, and it continues to attract customers. A suspect who broke into a business and caused thousands of dollars in damage is now wanted in Weber County. Officials with the Weber County Sheriff's Office said on August 8th around 4 a.m. an individual forced entry into the Plain City office building. They're asking the public to help identify the suspect after video was released of that person. According to authorities, the incident caused over $10,000 worth of damage. They're asking for any resident near Plain City to check their cameras from 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. on the day of the break-in and to report any suspicious activity. Anyone who has information on the suspect is asked to contact the Weber County Sheriff's Office. KVNU News Time is 4:47.
Men, sometimes women drop subtle hints like,
Honey, we've been driving for a while. Are you hungry?
Nah, I'm good. What's wrong? Are you crying?
I'm starving and you won't let me eat.
Women can speak a different language. So here's a hint, guys. Call Hull Tree Care to trim and shape your overgrown trees and shrubs. Your yard will look amazing. Your trees will be healthier. And your wife? Well, take her out to eat, okay? Hull Tree Care. That's Hull Tree Care. 760-6587.
KVNU weather for tonight, mostly clear, low in the mid-50s, and sunny skies, mid-90s tomorrow, hot on Thursday, partly cloudy skies in middle 90s, a slight chance of some showers and thunderstorms developing Friday afternoon. Our high today has been 90, right now it's 89 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue. Even if you're denied by your insurance company the first time you receive a quote to fix your roof, a free reevaluation can be made. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free consultation. That's roofrescueusa.com. For more details on these and other stories, visit cashvalleydaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Rochelle Hanks bringing you the daily financial market report on behalf of financial advisor Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Tuesday, August 16th. Strong headwinds to the property market. Housing starts fell almost 10% month over month as builders struggle with higher material and input costs and consumers face affordability concerns as mortgage rates rise. This comes after a report yesterday that showed home builder sentiment falling for the 8th month in a row. Housing costs are a key factor in the inflation index and watched closely by the Federal Reserve as the Fed combats inflation through higher interest rates. The housing market saw inventories fall to historically low levels during the pandemic as housing demand grew, but inventories have been rising in recent weeks as demand wanes and future new builds are forecast to fall as builders struggle with high input costs. Supply chain issues, high labor costs, and slow to return manufacturing capacity are among the factors driving higher costs. Lower housing demand could translate into lower liquidity in economy, denting economic growth. U.S. equities closed higher today. The Dow closed up 240 points at 34,152. The NASDAQ closed down 26 points at 13,103. and the S&P closed up 8 points at 4,305. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 2.82%. In stocks of local interest, Thermo Fisher is down $2.38 to $602.11. Home Depot is up $12.77 to $327.38. Autoliv is up $1.38 to $85.48. Lowe's is up $6.08 to $214.12. Walmart is up $6.77 to $139.37. Nucor is up 78 cents to $142.65. Coca-Cola is up 53 cents to $65.03. Kroger is up $1.56 to $49.08. And General Electric is up $1.26 to $81.07. In commodity markets, the price of crude oil was down $2.97 at $86.44, and the spot price of gold was down $7 to $1,791.10. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 1202 South Highway 9 in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact any of our 7 Edward Jones offices in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
My name is Dr. Brandon Prevey, and I love being a dentist. I work with Drs. Curtis Taylor, Anthony Larson, and Paul Harris. When people ask where our office is, I actually have 2 answers. First, I spend part of the week at Logan Dental Associates, and then second, I spend the other part at Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond. Both locations are a full-service dental office and can take care of everyone in the family. Call or go online and make your appointment with the office that's most convenient for you. Logan Dental Associates in Logan or Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond.
Believe it or not, a high-quality furnace air filter will reduce the amount of dust and pollen carelessly floating around in your home. John at the Duck Hunter says always buy a higher quality air filter. If you can see through a filter, you probably should pass on it. If you're not sure about which furnace air filter to buy, give John a call. He only carries the highest quality, which will reduce the dust and pollen in your home. For a free consultation, call the Duck Hunter at 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
Are you blind or losing vision? Do you feel like it's controlling your life and your decisions, possibly limiting you? Well, I've been there. But through the National Federation of the Blind, I have learned that I don't have to allow blindness to define me, and you don't have to either. To learn more and find the support you need, simply visit blind.org. That's blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Wednesday edition, Clay and Buck, the latest on the Mar-a-Lago raid. Plus, we'll break down what happened in Wyoming and Alaska as primary season rolls on. And Buck.
Border is still wide open. The numbers for July are in, and they're in the hundreds of thousands. Let's make sure that everybody knows that under the Biden regime, we have the worst border we've ever had. We'll break that down for you coming up on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. St. George area getting some online ridicule today, but it is, I would say, actually mostly good news. You remember last summer as the drought set in, it was reported, I think, first by Associated Press, and then some numbers were crunched from state data, and it looked a little better, but not much. But the short version of the reports, the Washington County area, one of the fastest growing counties in the country right now, and one of the driest as well, was using water at about 3 times the national average per household. And at the same time, the Washington County Water Conservancy District has also been behind this big push, which they got state lawmakers to jump on board as well for a few years there at least. I'll bet that's changed now, to build this pipeline from Lake Powell to the St. George area. Washington County is dependent on the Virgin River primarily, well, entirely. There are some aqueducts that they could tap, but no one knows how long they'd last because they haven't really been mapped. Water in general, it's just a really dry place, and yet population growing there faster than anywhere else in the country right now. Now that'll change and slow as things evolve and change over the next decade or so. But still, it's an area that doesn't have enough water, and its population expected to double by 2030. So it's problematic, to say the least. But also problematic is the Lake Powell pipeline itself. I mean, obviously, a lot of people were warning about this when the state lawmakers started to put this plan to build a pipeline across the state down there together. A lot of experts that lawmakers sometimes don't want to hear from if it goes against their preferred view. It's called confirmation bias, and our legislature has a problem with it. They don't want to hear it. And so a lot of experts came and said, a couple of things. We spoke with a professor last summer out of New Mexico who wrote an entire book on this, saying, look, the original water data that you're all working with, and by y'all he meant Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and even California. He said, you're all working with water data that doesn't exist. It was mapped after one of the wettest decades in water data history in southern Utah and the Colorado River in general, and it hasn't been that wet since, and it was 110 years ago, and you're still using that as your baseline for how much water there supposedly is, and this professor wrote a book about that, how there really is not that much water in the first place, and yet everyone's fighting over it. They ignored them, and they pushed ahead. Lawmakers here in Utah put together a committee, it's a committee, they named it. And then they entered into these negotiations with Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, sitting down at the same table. Those negotiations apparently broke down this week. So the plan right now is water managers for the Flaming Gorge area are going to start releasing a little more water to prop up water levels in Lake Powell, not for tourism, and not for this Lake Powell pipeline idea, which at this point I would say is probably a dead idea, and that's probably welcome news. But they are worried that if the water goes any lower in Lake Powell, it will take a decade for the lake to recover fully. There is also concern about the hydroelectricity generated by the dam there, and it being 1,300 feet above we can't generate electricity anymore, which, by the way, electricity from the dam is distributed to about 70% of Utah. So a pretty big deal if those hydroelectric pumps shut down because the water level's too low to gravity feed them. So it's 1,300 feet above that right now, which is a record, and has been hanging out there for over a month. So they're going to release some more water from upstream, basically, as much as they can, and cross their fingers, hope for the best. So in light of that, the Lake Powell pipeline people and this committee that lawmakers put together are in full-on panic mode. And one of their responses has been to try and promote how much conservation has been happening in St. George. A very transparent effort to say, look, we should still build the pipeline because they're starting to use less water. They're being responsible with it. We still need to build the pipeline. The report, though, shows that all the cities in the county, Washington County, got together and hashed this out over a couple months period, and they came up with a plan that over the next 8 years will reduce water use by, drumroll please, 14%. Really, folks? You want to be taken seriously enough that all the taxpayers in Utah should help fund a pipeline to your city and county, and your big plan to show that you're going to be responsible with that water when you haven't previously been responsible with water is to come up with a plan that over 8 years will reduce your use by 14%. The plan also requires reduction of grass at new construction, apartment buildings, various business sites, and more, but does not require low flow in the houses themselves, low flow toilets and sinks and things like that. And then the plan also says that, very vaguely, says that over the next 10 years, they'll figure out a way to do more reclamation from the many, many golf courses and car washes. By the way, Washington County also, highest number of car washes and golf courses per capita. Over the next 10 years, they'll come up with some kind of a plan to reclaim water, or at least reclaim more water from those golf courses and car washes. That was their big plan that's supposed to convince all the taxpayers in the rest of the state that we should help pay for this pipeline to nowhere. Yeah. Water levels in Lake Powell don't support it. We've seen that for the last 2 years. The scientists were proven right, and even the legislature has finally been real quiet about the Lake Powell pipeline. It's DOA at this point. Check it out, though, if you want to see what St. George and Washington County are doing to improve conservation. There is some great stuff in this. I've linked to it on our Facebook page. Hour 2 of today's show.